you want to come in? Okay, mine.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm Melissa.
Hi,
Thanks
Melissa.
for coming in.
Thank you.
Alright, so have you been to counseling before?
I haven't. This is my first session.
Okay, so how familiar are you with confidentiality?
I'm pretty familiar, but I'd like an explanation.
Sure. Yeah, just so you know that anything you say in here is completely confidential. It's going to be kept between yourself and me.
Okay, great.
And so you don't have to worry about any sharing of information.
All right, good.
All right. What brings you in today?
I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she's a freshman in high school, and recently at my high school we had an accident that claimed the life of a young woman, and I am struggling with this fear of letting her go off and make her own choices and giving her that little bit of freedom versus watching her make life-changing decisions that really could impact the rest of her life and might be detrimental to her, and just that fear of, am I doing enough to make sure that she's protecting herself and making good decisions?
Right.
Yeah,
I understand. So you're basically trying to find a way to allow her to have her freedom.
Yeah, right. Without, it's a scary time, I think, in a parent's life, in that I want her to be able to make choices on her own, and quite frankly, I want her to be able to make mistakes, because I think that's important and that's how we grow. But I struggle with letting her make those mistakes, and it's kind of counterproductive sometimes, and that I'm, okay, go out and do this, but then wait a minute, don't make too many choices on your own, and just, I think, realizing that things happen so fast, and she's 14, she's in high school. Of course, mom is not always the one that she wants to listen to and wants to hear, even though I try and keep those lines of communication open, and I'm very clear with her that sometimes I'm not going to want to hear what you have to say. I mean, it's hard for moms to hear things, especially if you're making poor choices, but we need to be able to have those conversations. And so just balancing that, making sure that I'm being as open and honest with her as I possibly can be, so that she can A, come to me with anything, and B, make good choices.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any specific worry you have? You mentioned the accident that happened recently.
Yeah. I think that in the accident, it was a young girl making a really poor decision, and she didn't think for a second that it was going to be the end of her life. And I just see how quickly those decisions are made, and having a 14-year-old myself, realizing that, she was to go out and make the decision to drink and not feel confident enough to call mom or dad to come take her away or help her get out of that situation, that if she was to get in a car with somebody who was drunk, then that could impact the rest of her life. Or if she chooses to become sexually active without having communication with me about how to protect herself, then that could be something that changes the course of her life. So just making sure that she's very aware, and we have these conversations. I just think I'm also a little bit fearful of what that means, and what those choices mean for her, and that something can happen so fast to change the course of her life.
Absolutely.
So protecting her in a way while letting her spread her wings and fly a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you think you can reduce your anxiety about her making these choices?
I think making sure she's very aware that we've got those open lines of communication. I also, I'm wondering if maybe self-esteem classes on her part, things that kind of promote and grow her self-esteem, would be beneficial, so that she values herself, and making sure that she loves herself to make those good decisions that she needs to make. I'm not quite sure. And then taking care of myself, really.
Right. And which of those three areas do you feel like you're in immediate need of structuring? You feel like you need to keep the lines open, like that's your most pressing issue?
I think I've expressed that to her, and so I think she knows. We've had those conversations, and we continue to have those conversations. Maybe just I think maybe taking some steps to make sure that I'm giving her the tools to value herself. I think that's probably my most pressing issue. Making sure that I'm looking for things that help encourage and foster her self-esteem.
Right.
I think that's probably my most pressing issue.
And do you feel like those are things that you specifically can help her with, that you want to, or do you feel like you want to go find tools to help her with her self-esteem?
I think that we're at that funny point in life where mom and dad don't know very much, you know? I mean, even though we do, we don't. And so I think arming myself with outside resources that are there to help support her are really important.
Right.
I had a teacher come to me that was concerned about somebody that she was talking to, a boy that she was talking to, and he just didn't like this boy, and I kind of gave him I kind of said, well, talk to her, tell her tell her how you feel, because if it comes from mom and dad, it sometimes falls on deaf ears, right? So giving other adults in her life the ability and the okay to speak with her on these terms. I think sometimes other adults feel like, well, that's not my child, it's not my business, but it's important to me that she has other adults in her life that she knows value her and her growth and development and decisions she's making.
Right.
So
you want to get her the resources she
right,
needs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would help you kind of reduce your anxiety about it.
I think so. There's only so much you can do as a parent, and I think that's what I struggle with is just, am I doing enough to make sure that she's okay? So finding those resources, I think, would be something that we haven't necessarily done, and I think that would help her and me, just making sure that she's informed of all the things. I went to a private Catholic school in which we were given a lot of information, and sometimes I feel like she's at a public school and she's not necessarily given that same amount of information, and it becomes more our responsibility to seek that out. And I think I need to do a better job of seeking that information out for her, whether it's through workshops or, I was even talking about like self-defense or self-esteem building classes,
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So this week, would you feel comfortable with maybe finding 2 or 3 outside resources that you're comfortable with sharing with her and sitting down and talking with her about how would that work?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So this week, go ahead and find 2 or 3 resources and talk to her about them, and then come back and we'll meet again next week and see how that worked.
Okay. Sounds
See you next week.
Okay. Great.
Next session.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Thank you.
Last week we were talking about reducing your anxiety about your daughter kind of going off and making her own decisions.
Yeah.
And you were going to seek a couple outside resources to kind of, you said, to boost her self-esteem.
Right.
How did that go?
It went pretty good, although it's sometimes difficult, I think, to find those resources. I found a girls group at our local community center that's talking about empowerment and just growing in how to be a strong individual, but specifically a strong woman, and how to make good decisions, and talk about body image and that kind of thing. And so I think it'll be really good, and she was open to it. She likes to participate in things and just be informed, and so I think it'll be good. Yeah. So.
And were you able to find any other resources?
Not at this time. I think she's a pretty busy little girl, so I think this will be a good start for us as far as just something to inform her and give her some confidence and self-esteem boosting.
And how does that, knowing that for her, how does that help you?
I think that helps me because I'm always afraid I'm missing something. I'm always afraid I'm not giving her all the information. and not intentionally, just that you don't always think of everything at once. And
Right.
so I think this will be helpful because it's structured, and the goal of the class is to provide information to young girls and to really empower them. And so I think that in doing that, they're going to go over a lot of things that maybe I haven't talked about just because I haven't thought about it. So,
Right. And
yeah. So
you feel good about that?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be really good. So yeah, I'm hoping it'll affect her positively.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now, is there any other problems bothering you right now, or do you feel like you got the right resources in place?
I think I've got the right resources in place. I think I'll keep looking for more things for her to do that really foster growth and development, and yeah.
And you're feeling good about all those decisions?
I think so. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you don't have any other things to discuss, you can follow up with me anytime. I have an open door policy. You can come in and talk to me if you have any other issues regarding yourself or your family that you want to talk about.
Great.
So I look forward to following up with you later.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Thanks, Melissa. Good job.
It's gonna have to be close.
Huh?
It's gonna have to be close enough.